Before you visit Bako National Park, there are a few things you need to know. And it pretty much depends on you whether you like it or not. Because you see, the thing is, welcome to Travel Thoughts, which actually is becoming something like a regular series. My name is Wojtek and I'm a traveler and storyteller, and aside from the vlogs and short films I make on this channel, this series is all about the philosophical sides and some of the practical stuff that revolves around traveling. So first things first, should you actually visit Bako National Park? Should you actually go there? Is it worth your time? And my answer to that question is definitely. It's a gorgeous, fascinating place. It's like I always imagined a tropical forest looks like, with lots of wildlife to discover, big and small stuff, and it's also the oldest rainforest of the state Sarawak in Malaysian Borneo. Oh, it's not the oldest rainforest, like the rainforest in Borneo is the oldest rainforest, but it's the oldest national park. There you go. If you would like to see the good stuff, I recommend you watch the latest video I made about it, and then come back to this video to get all the information about what to do and what to see and where to go and how expensive it is. Okay, but now let's get into this. How do you get there? You can take a taxi, you can take an Uber, you can take a private car, which are all options, but I think the cheapest one will probably to take a bus. And sometimes a private car, a private bus will drive by and take you for the same price, which is, if I remember correctly, around 5 ringgit. Yet that bus or whichever transportation vehicle you choose will not take you to the park, but only to the port. Once at the port, you can buy a boat ticket for around 40 ringgit. It's a return ticket, so they will bring you to the park and back from the park. You just have to tell them how many nights you would like to spend there. Yes, you can sleep there and you should sleep there. I'll get to that. But there's one more thing you need to know, and that is that you have to decide when you want to go back. And once you decided that, you have to consider that you will have to spend the full day until the afternoon, evening, when the boat goes back, because if you would like to leave earlier, say in the morning like we did, they will charge you an extra 25 ringgit. Once arrived at the national park, you will pay an entrance fee of 20 ringgit, and then you will go, like, this will probably be the first place you see, the headquarters of Bako National Park. This is like the centerpiece of the national park, where you can get food and where the accommodation is and everything else, and even the wildlife, which I will also get to in a minute. And how much was the hostel? It was 30 ringgit for 2 nights. So even that was super, super cheap. It is basic, but it is fine. I don't know if they actually have something like a premium accommodation, but on the other hand, it's a national park, so just like it's in Southeast Asia, and just deal with it, all right? They have Wi-Fi. So this is, I think it's the only national park they actually have Wi-Fi. But you can't really use it because most of the stuff that works there during the day are teenagers that are using all the Wi-Fi for their smartphone games. So if you're lucky, you can get a WhatsApp message out, but that's pretty much it. And I don't want to bash on Malay here. Like, Malay are such nice and welcoming and super friendly people. I enjoyed every conversation I had with the adults. I just think that's a teenager thing. Like, teenagers are just a pain in the ass. Like, I wouldn't even want to deal with myself when I was a teenager. I pity my parents of the past for having to deal with me as a teenager. For instance, the night walk we did with the adults at night time when the sun goes down, I think that's an extra 10 ringgit you pay for that, which definitely is worth it because the people, like, they find a lot, they see a lot. We went out for a night walk in Bako National Park. You can also see that all in the video. And we found some stuff ourselves, but these people, I think they just know where to look and how to find small and big stuff in the nights. Definitely worth it. Do the night walk. Absolute recommend. Oh, I'm sorry for that. Recommend. Night walk. Do that. I mean, just like it was with the Wi-Fi, those teenagers would not really care much for any of our needs or questions. And it was pretty much the same with water, actually. Even though it was advertised everywhere, and everywhere we asked, they told us Bako National Park has a water refill station. Yeah, bummer. I just don't like that you don't even have the option to choose between buying bottled water or just getting a refill. And from what I know, someone of you actually told me that it has not changed. I know most people do not really care about it, like most tourists do not really care about it, but just think about it. Why would you bring stuff that is actually harming the environment to a place with lots of wildlife and endemic species and endangered species, which is, just to get a little bit further into that, because they do not really have a disposal system for that, which on the other hand is quite hypocritical to say, because the country I'm living in used to, until very recently, sell most of its plastic waste to countries like Malaysia or Indonesia. Yet there still is a way to avoid that whole ton of plastic and waste by simply using alternatives like your own bottle and water refill station. It's definitely possible, and I just would love to see that change, especially in a place which calls itself National Park. On that note, Bako National Park is not like a hidden gem or something. It's a quite touristic place, and monkeys learned to make a good use of that. They steal pretty much all the food they can get in the cafeteria. If you're sitting inside of the cafeteria, you're good. If you're sitting outside of it, you might see macaques charging people. And that was another thing that, even thinking about it, just for the record, food at the cafeteria is between 5 or 10 ringgit, absolutely affordable. Not super tasty, but it's fine, it's okay, you'll make it. Anyway, what I was about to say is that macaques just seem to have adapted very well to the average intelligence of the regular tourist. If I'm offending anyone, I'm actually not very sorry, because literally I saw people getting robbed their food, and their only reaction would be to emotionlessly grab their phone, pull it out, and take a picture of it happening, not realizing that macaques also might steal their phone. Like, that probably also already happened, and it's just... On the other hand, it's very interesting. I lately watched a video of Aspect Science about how monkeys entered the Stone Age and how they are using tools and using new methods to make their living, you say make their living, like how it changes their lifestyle. Anyway, and I took about half a day to work a little bit on my laptop, and then I saw those macaques literally roaming, scanning the place, the headquarters and all the accommodations for food and for maybe open doors and leftovers and whatnot. Even saw one monkey like looking through the window. It was quite funny and interesting to watch. And just on that note, they do not seem to be aggressive. They're wild animals. You have to be aware of that. But that's not the only monkey you will find at Bako National Park. We also found silverleaf monkeys, which I used to call silverbacks because I didn't know how they're called until I realized that silverbacks are a whole different kind of animal. Yeah, we found them between some mangrove trees, and they didn't really care for much, and they were just awesome to watch. That was a really amazing experience, and they have super cute babies. They have a different color than their parents have. That was incredible. I like thinking back to that a lot. Yeah, but that was also the only time we found them, so I guess we were lucky. I actually don't know how common they are, but there definitely is a chance to see them. And there's also a third kind of monkeys you will find around Bako National Park, and they're super easy to identify because their nose looks pretty much like a... And what I found stunning about proboscis monkeys is I did not actually know how big they are. They are not, I wouldn't say they're massive, but they're quite huge. They're not like small monkeys. They're like an actual... And you don't really have to search for them. You will find them around HQ. And the reason for that is that the trees that grow around the headquarters are the same trees the proboscis monkeys feed on. You can also find them in the forest. Like, you can have a very unique experience just secretly spotting them, but it will be more like in the distance and not as close as in HQ. And finding them, just seeing them in the headquarters close up is pretty cool. But people just getting fucking way too close to them, that's not cool. And I know that I'm also guilty of that, but you know, I saw people taking their kids and literally walking up like 2 or 3 meters in front of them. And even though they're not aggressive, they actually do not seem to care at all about humans, and they are not very stressed out about their just about us being there and the whole group standing in front of them. Yet, I don't know, it's wild animals, and I just feel like you should have some respect for wildlife. And I just recently learned that it's actually quite hard to relocate them because they adapt very badly to a new environment. But I guess lucky for you as a visitor, because it's so easy to find and see them there, even up close. And yeah, I also think it was pretty cool. But you have to know, this is also, and I think many people are not aware, an endangered species that is suffering from habitat loss. They're also endemic to Borneo, and there's only about 7,000 left of them. And what I'm trying to say is Bako National Park is an incredible place. It's worth all advertisement, and I loved it, and I think you will love it too. I just generally advocate for the idea of traveling more thoughtfully and more consciously so that others can have a similarly beautiful experience as you had, instead of spoiling and exploiting places and just not giving a fuck. I say, give a fuck. Give a fuck for the monkeys. Give a fuck for the rainforest. I'll probably get demonetized, but give a fuck for the Malaysian tourism industry, for a sustainable Malaysian tourism industry. By the way, there is an awesome TED talk about how you can approach tourism actually differently. I'll just link the talk below and see for yourself. I think it's a good one. So I hope that was not too offending. It was helpful, if not interesting or entertaining at least. And if you would like to let me know that you liked it, do me a favor and rage on that like button, escalate down below in the comments, gently tap subscribe on your way out, and turn around and spinning back fist that notification bell on your way out. Next time coming up, the truth about Brunei. I hope you're stoked for that, because I am. Only love, pirates. See you then. Peace. If you're new to this practical stuff that you I suck. Like, I always imagined what does imagined? See, what I'm trying to say is, I don't know. Some of the Why am I even? Whew. Yeah, well, that was exhausting.